I made $30,000 when I was just 22 years old on a real estate deal, and I thought it was incredible. And it was. But it took me years to find out that there's a much better way. You see, in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how I made $30,000 and show you exactly how I did it between finding the deal, financing the deal, and refinancing the deal. I'm gonna share with you that strategy that I used, and then I'm gonna show you why that strategy no longer works and what I'm doing now. And so I just recently, 3 weeks ago, closed a deal where I made almost $100,000. And so I'm gonna break down that exact blueprint on how I made that $100,000 with about a tenth of the headache and a tenth of the work and time. So let's get into it. So let's get into how did it work. Firstly, I found it on market with a real estate agent. It was listed on the market. It was my 46th offer. So guys, don't stop making offers. I had 46 no's, and yes, 46 because they said no at first. 2 weeks later, they said, yes, let's do it. So anyways, I bought it on market with the real estate agent for $100,000. That was my purchase price. So $100,000. Okay, after the $100,000 purchase, then I found that and financed it through a private money lender. So I had someone in my network that I had been educating and really working on for the last 9 months to be able to fund my deals. Eventually they said yes. They said they would try one. So I got them to try it and we got it financed. So $100,000, they brought the $100,000. After that, it was a $22,000 rehab. Okay, single family home in Omaha, Nebraska. The rehab was $22,000. So all in, I was all in at $122,000. That was my all-in price. When I got done, the house appraised for $150,000. Okay, so you can do the math on that. 150 minus 122. So I made about 30,000. It's $28,000 in actual profit. Now, I didn't end up selling this. The big thing here is what I did was I had a private money lender for the 100 and the 22,000. I then got an appraisal from a bank, and the appraisal said it appraised at 150,000. After that, I took out a loan for 80% of the appraisal cost. And so 80% of what it appraised for. So I got a loan for $120,000. So you can do the math. I was all in at 122. I got a loan for 120 to pay back my private money lender. I paid them back another $2,000. So I was all in on the house for $2,000. At that point, I had $28,000 worth of equity baked in, and I rented the property. Okay, so you can see I made $2,000 in, all in. I paid $2,000 for this home. That's awesome. Then I kept it as a rental. So what did my numbers look like as the rental? So firstly, I had rent coming in. So I got the thing rented. I rented it myself. The rent was roughly $1,800. And guys, I'm gonna give you rough numbers because I didn't go back and sit through every single number, but I'm gonna give you the gist of it. And then I'm gonna share with you again at the end, the exact strategy I'd used to make almost 6 figures in so much less time. So rent was $1,800, PITI. I then have to pay principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. That's what that stands for, PITI. So roughly, we're gonna call it $1,400. So it looks like I had cash flow here, right? If you look at $1,800 minus $1,400, you look like you have $400 in cash flow. Well, anybody that's in real estate long enough knows that that's not actually the cash flow number. So what'll happen is the tenant will eventually move out, and then you're gonna have turn costs, such as paint, carpet, cleaning, all of that stuff. The tenant, while they're there, is probably gonna have some things going on. They're probably gonna flush something they shouldn't down the toilet. You're gonna have to call a plumber. Maybe the roof's gonna need to be done. Maybe an appliance goes out. Anything will happen, right, during the stay. And so there are repairs and maintenance that you need to budget for, as well as capital expenditure events. So we'll just call it 20% for repairs and maintenance and CapEx. So 20% in budgeted costs. Now that ends up being, do the math here, 1,800 times 0.2. All right, so 360. So $360 in budgeted expenses. Okay, so then that puts your true cash flow to $40. Killing it. Killing it, right? So this is the first deal ever. I was making about $400 in cash flow per month is what I thought. After tenants moved out, after things happened, I owned this property for 8 years, okay? And so my true cash flow is about $40 a month, which is honestly about nothing. Like it was very marginal at best. But I owned this property for 8 years and I still own this property to this day. So I bought it 8 years ago and it appraised for 150,000. Well, now that thing is worth about 250,000. Okay. So in 8 years, I have made about $100,000 in equity, right? So true profit is 100K in time frame 8 years. Now that sounds pretty cool, but I'm telling you there's a lot better way. And so right now it does not work. This strategy is called the BRRRR strategy, okay? And the reason why this strategy doesn't work in today's market is because the interest rate that I used back here is no longer the interest rate that it is in today's market. The taxes that I used right here are no longer the taxes that are in today's market. The insurance rates that I used right here are no longer the insurance rates in today's market. And so all of that to say, this PIT number in today's market is likely gonna be around $1,800, which means this goes to zero and then the cash flow in today's market is actually gonna be negative, right? If you're tracking the math on that. So the BRRRR strategy is somewhat dead right now in today's market in this day and age. And so what isn't dead? What is the way that we as real estate investors can use in today's market? So that is what I'm gonna show you right now on how I just did this 3 weeks ago and made almost the same amount in less than 3 months. So let's go back to here. I'm gonna leave that section there for you. All right, so what did I do now? So I just bought a property 3 months ago. I bought it, it was a referral from a previous seller that I had already bought a property from. And so what did I do? I bought this property for $96,000. So my purchase was $96K. Okay, then what did I do? I renovated it and I flipped it. And so then my renovation was, we'll call it 25K. So all in, 112, all in. I was all in at $121,000 for this flip. Then what I did is I put it on the market. Instead of trying to do this complicated BRRRR thing where I couldn't get things to cash flow anymore because of interest rates and taxes and insurance, well, I just flipped it. I listed it on the market. I listed it on the market for $210,000 and it ended up getting a bidding war and it ended up selling for $225,000. So you can do the math on that. That's over $100,000 if you're just looking at it on this way. However, that's not really the right way to do it. So I'm gonna give you guys the actual breakdown. How I like to do it is it sold for $225,000. We ended up netting about 93% on that. So if you take 225 minus 93%, why do I do that? Well, because we had holding costs, because we had to buy this and pay a lender for it. We also had to pay agents, right? We paid a buyer's agent, we paid a listing agent. Okay, so 225,000 times 0.93. Now I was the listing agent, so that's why I take it times 0.93. I give my entity a deal. So all in all, we made about 209,025K was our net. We were all in at 121K, so minus 121. So we ended up actually making 88.25K. So that was our net profit. In guess what time frame, right? This time frame actually took less than 3 months. So I got a question for you. Would you rather make $100,000 over 8 years, or would you rather make $88,000 in 3 months and be able to do it again and again and again? And so Obviously, the answer is 88,000 in 3 months. That is how to build a business. And that is really the key here, is that business owners, such as flippers or wholesalers, can make this kind of profit time and time again. And guys, I've got 14 deals going on right now. So you can just do the math on that, right? Like, we don't average 88,000 on each one, but that is the true amazing benefits of being a real estate investor that is also a business owner. And so if you're stuck and you're like, dude, I don't know how to get rentals, well, the easiest way is just own a business. And if you want to own a business that also has rentals, so you can just cherry pick the best ones, dude, buy and create a home buying company so that you can start to enjoy on stuff like this. That's the key. All right, guys, so with that, now you know my exact strategy that I am using today to generate 7 figures in profits per year and doing it with less headache. So it is exactly through that strategy, flipping houses and wholesaling houses. It is not dead, and it is an amazing way to generate cash. So with that, I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you got value from the video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It supports the channel as we continue to grow and make videos like this for you guys. And if you're looking to start a business, well then check out my video right here. It'll show you, I thought business was really, really hard until I learned the stuff that's in this video. So you're gonna wanna check that out. With that, God bless. I will see you in the next video.